Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nitsa coming back with another banger of a video here today. The highly requested and demanded Toosii vocal tutorial. Let's get it. Alright guys, so the very first thing that I'm going to do today is I just want to say thank you very much for everybody who's been supporting the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you guys by any chance do want to check out this vocal template, I will also drop the link down below so you can check it out, okay? So let's go ahead and play it first.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
Alright, so then I'm gonna play it again. That was me trying to do my best impression of Toosii. So this is the raw vocal.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
So one thing about mixing, sometimes when you're an engineer too, you might see the rapper go in the studio and try to repeat the take over and over and over and over again. But usually them first couple takes, what they call it is first take magic. Usually that's like some of the best takes, like the very first takes. So I feel like when you're an engineer, what you should always do just to help yourself out a little bit is just make like a blank track. Something as simple as just making like a blank track, right? Like kind of like how I do right here. And I'll just call it like save, you know, I'll call it the saver, right? And what I'll do is I'll just mute that track, right? And I'll just like, I'll inactivate it or something like that. And I'll just start dragging down clips that I already like. You feel me? Takes of the artists that they already like. Because there's some artists who be like, oh yeah, let me hear that one from all the way back, you know. So that's what you got to make sure that, you know, you try to keep some of the best takes that you have, you know, because, you know, it's just good to try to keep everything. You never know which one the artist is just going to out of the blue say that they like. So you can help yourself as an engineer like that too. And maybe if the artist keeps trying to force the take over and over again, you could be like, hey, you know, I got this right here saved, you know, and it makes you look very good. So what I have right here is I got a beat leveler, right? And no, I'm not EQing my beat. I would tell you to never do that. I'm just using it for color. So when you get a beat on YouTube, it's always loud. It's already like at 0 dB and already clipping. So what I do is I use the input trim on Studio Rack and I bring it down probably like 14 dB sometimes. So this one right here is from my boy Nico on Instagram, who hit me up. If you guys ever got any questions, you know, just hit me up on Instagram. I'm more than happy to help out or whatever. So here's how I do it, my gain staging. I bring the beat down, right? And I bring it down to somewhere around negative 18 dB. And the next thing that I do after that, let's go into the vocal bus. The one thing I like about Studio Rack and this template is that it's just so open. The only thing I could compare it to is like having a clean desk. You know, like some people work better when they have a clean desk because it's so open, you know. That's the good thing about Studio Rack. Everything is already built in. The delays, the reverbs, it's a one-stop shop for your vocal sauce. And I got some vocal ad-libs that I'm gonna go over today too. The very first thing that I have is an EQ. Now you gotta know as an engineer if the person has a deep voice or not. So I ain't really roll off too much low end on his vocal, nothing crazy really, like, you know, just a little roll off somewhere around the 150s, a little high boost. And let's hear what it sounds like with and without it.
Devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
I'm still keeping the impact of the vocal. Next thing that we got over here is just our Vox, just giving juice. I love the compressor. It's so beefy. And, you know, usually when you have somebody like Toosii who doesn't have a deep voice like that, who kind of has a high voice, you got to look for ways with compression to add beef, add meat. And the RVox is a great way to do that. You know, you kind of got to synthesize that low end in the artist's vocal. So I have a little gate just to tighten up the vocal, clean up the background noise, and let's play it with and without it.
Devil got a side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
So what you definitely hear is that RVox compression is kind of tightening up the mid-range and giving it more body, you know? So that's what you want to kind of look for too. Like sometimes even with female singers too, like they're not going to have that much low end, but you still kind of do want a little bit of low end in the vocal, not completely ripping it all off, because that's the feeling, you know, that low end is what establishes you know, just proximity, up closeness, a conversational type of atmosphere. When the listener is listening and the rapper is rapping, low end just lets you know, like, I'm right here. Okay. So the next thing that we have is a C4, right? And I like the default preset on C4. I would tell you guys, if you want to use C4 on a vocal, just open up the default preset and kind of like open up the bands a little bit, because these preset settings are already like very good. Right, so let's look at what it hears, what it sounds like with and without the C4. I'm just using it to control specifically the mid-range, right? Because I think that's very important. The mid-range of somebody who doesn't have a deep voice, like you kind of gotta like just make sure you preserve it, right? You want to bring it up, but still control it and not have it sound boomy.
I know that the devil got a side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
So yeah, that's what I did with the C4, right? I just focused on like the mid-range. The low end ain't really doing too much. I just really wanted to make sure that, because I am going to be bringing up his, you know, mid-bass kind of like lower frequency of his voice, right? To give some body to it. I just made sure that I wasn't going overboard with it. And the next thing that I have right here is Pulltech Eqp1a, right? And with this EQ is very good for vocals. It's very broad, right? And the 100 cycles is something magical that happens at 100 cycles. Like I try to say, the mid-range is the life force of a vocal. And the beautiful thing about the Pulltech is that you can boost that, you know, mid-range, that 100 cycles. That's very important, right? To kind of like the human connection for the listener to say, I feel this track. Yeah, they feel it because, you know, it feels personal, you know, it hits the heart. You know, your heart kind of has like that mid bass in it too. So that's why 100 cycles, I feel like, represents the human heart, you know. So people say, damn, man, I feel like you put your heart into that song. But you got to understand that, you know, you as an engineer, you got to look at the artist and look at like kind of like what type of voice do they have, you know, where does their voice, what bracket does it fall under, and you, accordingly from there, you're going to start making your moves. You know, EQ compression, like that has to play into your decision. What type of vocal does the artist have? You as the engineer, you got to conform to the artist, right? You're here to serve the artist. That's your job as an engineer. I'm here to make you sound better, right? So I'm going to bring the Pulltech in and out.
I know that the devil got a side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip.
So the next thing that we have right here is the V-Comp, which is modeling a Neve compressor, right? The topology here is diode bridge, right? So it's using a Zener diode. Now it's very interesting because this compressor, it has a lot of different features, right? It comes with the gold bundle. And this compressor, it has a de-esser on it, which is crazy. And it has a limiter and a compressor. So it's like a hybrid baby type of situation. This type of compressor, the topology, the style of compressor is very colored. So it's going to give me a life force. Let me bring it in and out.
I know that the devil got a side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes. To the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
Sometimes that's the best thing to do too, like what I just did right there. You hear that the affected signal is actually lower. So sometimes you can do that too as an engineer, you know, make the affected signal actually lower than the original so you're not being fooled by the level. So the very next thing that we're going to go into is the parallel compressors. So we have two parallel compressors, nothing crazy, both of them on mid mode too, right? So with the Studio Rack, it's so freaking versatile to where you can go from stereo, left, right, mid, sides. If you want to just do parallel compression on sides, all of the options are here available. This is a one-stop shop for your vocal sauce. You know, it doesn't matter what DAW you're using. Record something and then connect this and it's going to sound good. I'm telling you. I'm very confident in that. So I'm gonna bring the parallel compressors in and out.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes to the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
So you feel, so when you hear it right here, it even sounds like the parallel compression is doing some type of EQ, like just the way it's squeezing the signal and everything like that. So I love these two parallel compressors. You can keep adding more if you want to. That's the beautiful thing about Studio Rack. Studio Rack is great. You can use it in any DAW. And shout out to Waves for creating such a dope plugin for the creative people. And y'all crazy, Waves, you know, you gave somebody like me it's like giving a pilot a jet. Of course I'm gonna jump in that jet and I'm gonna take off. Like, this is the perfect landing dashboard for the creative people. So everything, one-stop shop. If you're an engineer, you don't ever want to be fiddling around trying to create a buzz, trying to do this, all the technical stuff when a rapper is recording, because those few seconds that you're doing it could be, inspiration could come at any moment. So as an engineer, you always got to think about efficiency, quickness. Like, how can I be in a session to where, like, I'm not even there, you know? Like, the artist is just flowing. Spring reverb from a guitar pedal. Like, this another thing I love about Studio Rack. I'm just using so much plugins I never even touched before. And pretty much, yeah, that's what we have. A spring reverb, right? And then pre-delay, and going into a big church high. And then lastly, we have a compressor. So that's the way that you can get that mainstream sounding reverb, is with a sidechain filter. The dope thing about Studio Rack is that you can just click on the compressor while it's in there and just pick the input. So it's not like you have to make a mono bus and do all these complicated things that you used to have to do. With one click, you could already be sidechaining your reverb. You know, in the mainstream songs, they have like that big reverb, but it's not overpowering. And what they're usually using is a sidechain compressor, right? So we have an R compressor right here, nothing crazy, right? And I'm using that in combination with an S1. The S1 you can use to kind of like duck the reverb. So let's hear what it sounds like with and without that sidechain filter real quick though.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes to the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
So with the sidechain compressor, you can hear when I turn it off, that big hall, right, which is located right here, it just kind of starts overpowering everything. Like, look at the reverb time. It's like 6 seconds. That's a very long reverb. But the beautiful thing about a sidechain compressor on the reverb is it allows you to push your reverb even harder. So a sidechain filter is a dope way of having huge reverbs, but still keeping it in focus, in control, and still having the listener concentrate on that dry vocal that's still in the middle, right? And the S1 stereo imager just complements it so well, because it's like now you can start opening it up and closing that space. Like, with these plugins, you can literally create your own space. So that's why S1 stereo imager, sidechain filter, those are dope ways to get that mainstream reverb. This whole pack of the template is going to include the beat leveler, the vocal chain, and the ad-libs. So you're getting so much value. So I'm gonna bring in all of the plugins in and out real quick.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes to the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
And the auto-tune settings, nothing crazy here, you know, nothing crazy. I do have it on a fast retune speed because he's kind of making melodies. And the humanizer is pretty up there because I don't want it to sound too robotic. You know, always, you know, dial it in, start from zero, and just figure out what works. You know, there's no predetermined settings for anything. So each song, you know, varies. All right, so for the ad-libs, what we have here is we just got an EQ rolling off hella lows and rolling off a lot of top end. You know, when you're mixing ad-libs as an engineer too, I'm gonna do a dedicated video about ad-libs. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna turn up. I'm gonna go crazy on them ad-libs, trust me. It's because you gotta get animated. As an engineer, you gotta make the artist get in the vibe where they just wanna get into the music. You know, that's a part of your job too. Your job is not just about mixing. Your job is about getting the artist in the optimal level. Because when you give the artist confidence going into that vocal take, they're gonna give you the best vocal take. When it's in the DAW, you're gonna have to do less work okay? Because the energy is already there, the character, the vibe is already there. The engineer is not about just coming to the studio and dropping your head down and working for 2 to 3 hours. Like, no, you got to socialize with the artists and the people. Life is about people and music is about life. So pretty much you got to always make sure you remember that, you know, these are people, you feel me? And they're trying to put their heart into the music, but you got to help them too. So let me bring it in and out the whole ad-lib chain real quick.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes to the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
But we started off with some boomy ad-libs, some boomy ad-libs, and we got them to being clean, complementing background vocals for already stable lead vocal, right? Your mindset as always got to be like, I need to make my ad-libs in a way that they're going to support that lead vocal, you know, like, but not overpower the lead vocal. And then lastly, just for the ad-libs, the one I want to talk about too is I had a Fuzz Stomp, another great plugin I never even touched. Studio Rack got me using plugins I never even like, I used to be like, to this plugin, you know, but now I got Studio Rack. It makes sense for me, right? So I'm just using this for distortion to add some grit and some contrast to the lead vocal, right? The ad-libs are supposed to complement the lead vocal. And let's just hear it in and out.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes to the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
And let's talk about the mono mod lastly. So this mono mod, right, is excellent. It's kind of like a modulator. It's giving my vocals movement. So let's listen to the original vocals, the original background ad-libs without it and with it.
I know that the devil got his side, but it ain't mine. I'ma look you dead inside your eyes to the truth, you know I ain't lying. I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie.
So especially at the end part, you know, I use this as a way to create a moment, right? I use it as a way to create a moment and some movement too, because the lead vocal is already down the middle. We already know that. But with the ad-libs, I didn't want it to be stagnant. I wanted it to be more human, you know, as a human being. Even when you take in a breath of air, you know, like you don't breathe the perfect amount of air. Sometimes you have long breaths, sometimes you have short breaths. So that's the way to make a song human, more relatable, is adding variations and adding movement, right? And I did a little bit of automation, right? The beautiful thing about Studio Rack is you can just right click any like little thing and, you know, you add it to one of the macros, and then, you know, I opened up a latch, you know, whatever, whoop-de-whoop, and I did a little bit of automation right here, right? Especially towards the end, I created a moment. So let's focus on that right now. Listen to the last bar when I say,
I told bro to flip the whip, make sure they can't slide. He done died, he a cat, now he got a lie. I know that
so if I didn't have it, it would have sounded like this without it, right? It would have been a missed opportunity to create a big moment, a big dramatic vibe, you know? So as an engineer, you gotta look for ways like that too, especially when the time when the beat, there's no drums, you know? There's no drums, you feel me? So you can do a bunch of different things with automation to like kind of fill the gap or build up anticipation to that next drop, you know, that the way it's moving, you know? If you do something like that in a session, the client is gonna be like, what is this is me? I can't believe this is me, you know? Like stuff like that is kind of like extraordinary, like supernatural, you know? So let's listen to it without it and with it, you know?
A cat, now he got a lie. A cat, now he got a lie. A cat, now he got a lie.
See, it's just a regular vocal, but when you put that modulation in, it makes it something bigger than that. It makes it starting to feel like it's bigger than the song. It's starting to make it feel like it's somebody's life, you know? Like anybody could relate to that right there. That's not even a lyric or anything. It's just the expression of humanity type situation, you hear me? So you got to insinuate that with something like modulation that adds more human element to your music. It can't just be a perfect, this is hard left, hard right. That's it. That's so boring, you know what I mean? You gotta spice it up a little bit, you feel me? So let me play it again, what it sounds like with it.
A cat, now he got a lie. A cat, now he got a lie.
So that's pretty much all that we got for today. Nothing too crazy. If you do want this template by any chance, it's coming fully loaded. A beat leveler. It's coming loaded with a lead vocal processing, and it's coming loaded with some dope ad-lib processing. Everything is already there. You just got to record and be creative. You don't got to worry about mixing too much. Of course, you still do have to worry about mixing, but your main priority always, though, when you're making music or you're recording somebody, is the creative part of it. You don't want to be sitting here fiddling with the technical stuff, like trying to put a sidechain to whoop-de-whoop. Studio Rack has already considered that for all of the artists like me and yourself. So I just want to say thanks a lot for watching my channel. I really appreciate you, my YouTube family. Make sure you don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know any other type of content you do want down below. And peace.